Good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic here from the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. My name is Mike Avery, hence Mike Behind the Mic. I've actually got two mics in front of me, microphones. You might say, why do you have two mics in front of you? One is the social media mic, and one is my official broadcast microphone because I'm here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio to record this week's show. Good morning, Jerry. How are you? Over on Instagram. Nice to have you along with us. Joel checking in from Facebook. Pleasure to have you along. B Hall 305 with us. K Zim is with us over on Instagram as well. S Greg 742. Good morning. How are you? 742-7. Mad Jack. Good morning, Mad. Good morning, Jack. How are you? I appreciate your checking on or asking about how my youth hunt went, or my grandson Carter's youth hunt. We had fun. Good morning, John. Good morning, Brad. Good morning, Charles. Carter did not get a deer, but he got a shot at a big doe. Very, very close. Just grazed the bottom of her. And it was a good experience. Ed Bolanowski watching on Instagram this morning. Ed, I have a question for you. That situation you and I talked about yesterday, did that get resolved? I'm just curious. Eric, good morning on Instagram. John on Facebook. Dan on Facebook. I've been a lot of good youth hunt pictures this year. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love the youth hunt. Big fan of the youth hunt. My grandson Carter and I were out there Saturday night and Sunday night. Hunting at my buddy Scott Gatz's place. Thank you, Scott, for your generosity and allowing us to hunt out there. We were covered up with deer. We actually hunted a small orchard right up next to Scott's house. And the deer were in there both nights. You're free. Like in free agent? Kevin over on Instagram. Good morning, Kevin. Coyote Killing King. My son Mason and I are listening to you in the school drop-off. So good morning, Larry. How are you? Free agent. I'll keep my ears open, Ed. I'll keep my ears open. What an interesting situation. Anyway, I don't want to get too far off track. Good morning, Larry. How are you? Nice to have you along with us. My name is Mike Avery here. I'm live in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. Grand Blank. Roger's listening in Grand Blank. Live from the Outdoor Magazine radio studio, here to record this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. I'll tell you who's coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Julie, good morning. How are you? Good morning, Tim. How are you, buddy? Earlier this week, I was out at the Apex Marine plant, the Angler Quest plant out in St. Louis, Michigan. Got a look at the new Angler Quest boats. Holy cow, are they beautiful. Wider beams. They've gone to 8 foot, 8 feet, 6, 8 foot, 8'6". Good morning, Craig. How are you, buddy? Malloy R99, Jack, checking in with us over on Instagram. Mike is enjoying this first day of the small game season. He's out in the woods, got 3 fox squirrels down. Excellent. I'm wonderful, Julie. Appreciate it. Thanks for asking. Aaron, good morning. How are you? Lane checking in. Appreciate you being along with Paul Phillips. Hey, Paulie, I was thinking about you just the other day, buddy. It's about time to get you back on the air here. Let's plan on doing something like that if you can. If you can work me into your schedule, because I know you're a busy guy. Good morning, Terry. Nice to have you along with us. So Carter and I were out. He was hunting with a dart and crossbow. Now, if he would have, they are, Jerry, they're beautiful, beautiful. I don't get the question mark. Malloy R99. I'm sorry. Don't get that. Carter was hunting with his crossbow. If he would have been hunting with a gun, he could have killed several big does. I told him going out there, I said, Carter, we're here to shoot a doe. Even if you see a buck, we're here to shoot a doe. And wouldn't you know it, we were covered up with small bucks. A bunch of 1.5-year-old bucks. And the only big doe that gave us a shot on Saturday night was out a little farther than what Carter was used to. And actually, she was farther than what I thought. Carter was used to about a 25-yard shot. And this big doe came in. I thought she was 30. I gave him the green light. She was actually closer to 35. So my bad. Hey, Paul. Nice to have you along with us. Paul's hunters are, do you have any hunters left in the woods, Paul? Are you done? Mike Van, is that you, Mike? M Worm 40, is that you, Mike? I did get your email. I will respond. I appreciate that very much. No sound on Instagram. Anybody else not hearing me on Instagram? I did get your email. I appreciate your thoughts and your comments. That is you. All right. So, Mike, I got your email. I will respond. I apologize. It's just been crazy, crazy, crazy. Ed's good on sound. Paul, I think it's just you. Turn your phone up. Doug checking in from Cincinnati. How are you? Bernie, good morning. How are you, my friend? It must be. It is you, Paul. Johnny can hear me. Oh, good morning, Mike. How are you? Anyway, Carter took his shot. I gave him the green light. She was quartered away. It was perfect, and he shot just underneath her. Again, it was a little farther shot than what he was used to. But the cool thing is, it was a good, clean miss. Good morning, Chad. It was nice to see you at Jay's. So, he was disappointed. I said, Carter, welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Everybody misses, but it's better to have a clean miss than a bad hit. So we went out Sunday night. Sunday night, it was storming like crazy, but the deer, we were covered up again. Again, a bunch of small bucks. One big doe came in. This time she was in range. She was about 25 yards, but she was surrounded by those small bucks, those 1.5-year-old bucks. I mean, they were all over the place. There must have been 6 bucks in there with her. Giant bear at bait at 726. No one in the stand. So he didn't take the shot. He was listening to me. I said, don't shoot. And he had the discipline not to. Good morning, Scott. How's our buddy? How's Blake? I've been thinking about you guys a lot lately. When she finally did give us a shot, she was out of range. So he did not get a shot. He did not get a deer on the youth hunt, but we sure had fun. And Scott Gatza, I appreciate. I'm sorry, allergies. I appreciate you giving us access to your place once again. So what's going on right now? Oh, pictures. Let me talk about pictures. Have you enjoyed the pictures from the youth hunt? I've got a bunch of them I haven't posted yet. I'm telling you, it has been an absolute crazy zoo in my world, but it's all good, right? Busy is good. Nolan had a nice 6-point, but didn't present a shot. He was bummed. But Brent, there's Scott right there. Scott, again, thank you for letting us hunt. I was just telling the story about Carter's hunts and how much I appreciate access to your beautiful piece of heaven there, Scott. You're a good man. I appreciate it. And for that reason, we upgraded your facilities in Ohio. Speaking of Ohio, we are absolutely sold out now. We're full. We're booked up. We're full. No room for anybody else hunting with us in Ohio. So if you didn't get in on that, I'm sorry. It's going to be fun. Regardless of whether we kill deer or not, it's going to be a fun hunt. I enjoyed the youth hunt. I love the youth hunt. I told you I would be in favor of making it does only, Mike. I want to follow up on that with you. I think you have some very valid comments on that. But here's an observation. Most of the pictures I saw during the youth hunt, all the kids had smiles, big, beautiful, beaming smiles. And I don't care if it was a big buck, a small buck, or a doe. They don't care, right? Kids just want to have the experience. 90% of those pictures had the deer's tongue lolling, lagging, sticking out of the side of its mouth like a cartoon. I get it. You get it. As hunters, when you shoot something and it dies, its tongue comes out. But is that the image we want to portray on social media these days? Back when our pictures were a solid thing that you handed to your buddies, it didn't matter. But now, good morning, Gene. How are things out at Apex? I was out there Monday. Whoa, those new boats are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I did a walkthrough, by the way, on the 826 Pro Troll with Brad Dupuis. I posted it on Instagram and Facebook. Check it out. Gary, how are things in Alabama, buddy? Nice to have you checking in. Got to get to work. So you're still working, Gary. Hey, so am I. Although you can't call this work, can you? When we put these pictures on social media, the entire world is watching. Can you just take 2 seconds and stick the animal's tongue back in its mouth, please? Is that too much to ask for? You've got a beautiful picture of a beaming kid sitting over a deer. It's framed up well. The exposure is great. It's a great looking picture. And then you got 6 inches of tongue hanging out of the animal's mouth. Just stick it back in his mouth. Yeah, Gene, I should have come back in the shop. You're right. Because you guys are the ones doing the work, right? You're the ones building the boats. I have not been out perch fishing yet. Doesn't look like I'm going to be out perch fishing. In fact, I think my next trip on the Angler Quest will be to run her across Saginaw Bay over to Linwood Beach Marina and put her to bed for the season. Randy's fishing right now. Good for you, man. Jim is doing great at the Bay City. Okay, Jim, let me ask you this. Do you just happen to be at the Bay City Y right now and you're doing great? Or have you been fishing down by the Y on the river? Randy's fishing right now. Randy, how are the perch? Johnny Cash Trevino, haven't heard from you for a while, buddy. I see your text, Scott. I can't look at it right now. I will follow up. Respect the game, Johnny says. And it's a matter of perception and the image that we're putting out there these days. Okay, good, Scott. Yeah, wonderful. Small game season is open. Somebody is out squirrel hunting this morning. Fall turkey season's open now, I believe. Hey, new promo codes. You know, I used to send you over to outdoorpregame.com to get that Wraith 270. Things have changed. If you go to primaltreestands.com, and use the promo code Avery, you can get a discount on everything on the Primal Tree Stands website, including the Wraith 270 see-through ground blind. You can get it for $199.42. It's the best price anywhere on that Wraith. Primaltreestands.com, promo code Avery. Get a Wraith 270 for $199.42. You can't beat that price. You can't beat it at Amazon. You can't beat it anywhere. That is the lowest price you're going to find on a Wraith 270. While you're online, go to michiganbrand.net. Use the promo code Mike21, mucc.org. Use the promo code Mike. Let me tell you who's coming up on the Outdoor Magazine show this week. Brad Dupuis of Angler Quest will join me talking about the new models. Again, they're wider. They're 8'6" now instead of 8 feet wide. They've changed the bimini. They've changed the transom. There is a cantilevered transom. So now when you're fishing, landing fish, pulling in baits, you're actually right over the water. There's no brackets or anything in the way. I think that's going to be a big deal. They've changed the color scheme. They changed the railing. They changed the seat configuration. They changed the furniture. They changed the floor. They changed the color scheme. The gates, they're a lift gate now. They're just, everything's beautiful. Everything's beautiful. So Brad will join me to talk about those. Then Scott Safranski of Linwood Beach. I want to check in with him about how the perch fishing is on Saginaw Bay, plus a reminder about if you are putting the boat to bed, like I am, that maybe it's not a bad idea to have the pros do it, right? Let the pros do it. I'm not getting any more comments over on Scott. The last comment I see on Facebook is Scott. There we go. The perception is that your weapon lying on it's always. That's a good one too, Bernie. That one doesn't bother me as much. But I know what you're saying. A lot of times in these pictures, you'll see people with guns or crossbows that look like they're pointed back up at the hunter. Now, in reality, they're not. They're pointed either in front or behind, but those pictures do make it look like they're pointed at the hunter. That is a concern, but my bigger concern is just clean the animal up and please put the tongue back in the mouth. I know you're excited. You walk up, it's a bear or a deer or whatever. You just got your trophy. You're excited. You want beautiful pictures, but then you get back home and you look at them and you realize the tongue's hanging out of the mouth and it takes the entire picture down. Just put the tongue back in the mouth. And I'm not caving into the anti-hunters when I say that. Okay, Mad Jack, I did receive my Wraith 270, but I used the other code, but the price was higher to start with, but in the end, it was only $5 different. Okay. All right. Well, how do you like it? How do you like it, Jack? Good morning, Ray. How are you? Yeah, they dropped the price. When they went over to primaltreestands.com, use the promo code Avery. It's now $199.42. In hour number 2, we're talking with Jerry Weidner of the Hunter Safety System. Jerry and his brother, Jerry, I got a mental block on Jerry's brother. John Weidner. They grew up in Southeast Michigan hunting and fishing. About 10 years ago, they came up with the idea of making a safety vest instead of a safety harness. Hunter Safety System was born. I want to talk to him about that, the concept of when you go up a tree. There is no longer an excuse to go up a tree without a full body harness on. All the excuses are gone. I'll be honest with you. I think if you go up a tree without a full body harness, I think you're being selfish. Because there are people in your life who want you around. Even if you don't care, what about your wife? What about your husband? What about your spouse? What about your kids? What about your employer? What about your employees? People. So somebody depends on you. And for you to be so cavalier that you would go up a tree and not think about your safety, because there are 2 types of tree stand hunters. Those who have fallen and those who will. Eventually, if you spend enough time up a tree, you're going to fall. Now, maybe you'll be lucky and it'll just be you'll fall down a couple of feet and be able to grab yourself. But eventually, you're going to fall. Chad makes a wonderful point. And use a lifeline. If you use a full body harness and you clip into that lifeline when you're on the ground and you slide that Prusik knot up the ladder, up the rope, up the steps or up the ladder, and you stay hooked into that while you're hunting, and you stay hooked into that all the way back down to the ground, honestly, there's no way you can fall. And if you do, you're going to fall a foot. I mean, you're not going to hit the ground. One other device I'm pretty interested in that I don't have experience with, to be honest with you, but it's a primal thing. It's called a descender. I still got my scars from my bear fight, I see. Descender. And it goes from your lifeline or your safety rope to your harness. And if you fall, it automatically and slowly lowers you to the ground. I haven't used that yet, but I think it seems like a good idea. John says a week or so ago, somebody fell out of the tree while putting the stands up. Yeah, it's not just while you're hunting. It's if you're going to be off the ground. Somebody depends on you. So Jerry Weidner will talk about that. Then Tom Cooley, who is a DNR biologist and a pathologist. I wanted to say pathologist, a biologist and a pathologist in the wildlife division, talking about diseases in deer, what you might see. Do you really have to be concerned? I mean, they've done such a great job of getting us all worried about CWD and everything else. What are the odds? What are the odds you're going to see a CWD deer? And if you do, what should you do? Excuse me a second. Allergies are bad today. How are yours, Pat? Yeah, bad. Allergies are bad right now. And then this week's Ask Avery segment. Pat, you're going to love this. This week's Ask Avery segment, asking the question, why are the wrong shows airing? Why are last week's shows airing? I don't want to mention the stations, but it's not the station's fault. It's not our fault, and it's not the station's fault. It's somebody in between. Yeah. I promise you this. Short of me getting COVID or some kind of family emergency which would have to be on the level of a death, I will be here in the studio every week to produce a new Outdoor Magazine radio show. If you are hearing a repeat show, there's been a problem somewhere along the line, but it's not on this end. I wouldn't do that to you. I take your time too seriously to just stay out of the studio and make you listen to the same show 2 weeks in a row. I wouldn't do that to you. But it's been happening. Things happen. technical difficulties, human error, but it does not originate in this studio. I'll tell you that right now. Butch says, good morning, Mike. Is the discount still available for the see-through blind? Yes. It's not on my website. The nephew didn't see it on my website. Butch, here are the details. Have your nephew or you, Butch, go to primaltreestands.com. That's primaltreestands.com and use the promo code Avery, and you can get the Wraith 270 see-through blind from Primal Tree Stands for $199.42. You won't find a better price anywhere. They're on Amazon. Amazon can't beat that price. Good morning, Scott. How are you? And in 1 minute? And in hour number 3, Jim Hoy joins me from the UP. He wants to talk about wolves. Jim is a well-known guy in the UP. He's a former prosecutor up there. He's an avid hunter and outdoorsman. And he is sick and tired of people downstate having no idea, in his mind, not handling the wolf situation as it should be. So I want to talk with him about that and more. He's also been out goose hunting. I want to talk to him about that. And then, of course, wild game chef extraordinaire Dave Miner joins me as well. You keep those a secret. Let's see. Yeah, Butch says Amazon was $209. I'm giving it to you for I'm giving it to you for $10 cheaper than Amazon. Not many people can say that. Tonight, 7 o'clock, another edition of Wednesday Night Live. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. Okay. That means the Outdoor Magazine radio show is going to start. I'm here in the studio to record this week's show. If you want, feel free to stick around and listen to the first segment of this week's show. Then you'll be a step ahead. But I would encourage you to join me tonight at 7 o'clock for another edition. It's not the people, it's the Humane Society. Yeah. Humane Society. Don't get me started. I don't have time to talk about that right now. Tonight, 7 o'clock, another edition of Wednesday Night Live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. I will not be live on. All right, I got to go, friends. Have a good day. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine show. So glad to have you along with us as we continue our weekly celebration of the history and tradition of the outdoor lifestyle here in the great state of Michigan and occasionally beyond. What is going on in your world right now? Since we've last talked, have you had a chance to get outdoors? Have you had a chance to be on the water? Have you had a chance to be in the woods? Great time of year, isn't it? Small game season's open now. Some great fishing. The youth hunt last weekend. The early doe season this weekend. I was out last weekend. I was out in the blind. In fact, I was out in the Primal Tree Stands Wraith 270 see-through blind that I love so much. And I was hunting with my grandson, Carter. Well, I wasn't hunting. Carter was hunting, and I was with him for the Michigan Youth Hunt. I'm a big fan of the youth hunt. I think it's a great idea. And if you could have heard Carter's breathing when a big doe walked in front of us, you would be a fan too. I could hear him from 3 feet away. And it was wonderful. If you can get a kid that excited about something other than a video game or a new iPhone, isn't that the goal? Isn't that what we want to do? How can you possibly be against something that would get a kid excited about hunting? I talked about this at length last week. I got to believe if you're jealous of some kid shooting your deer, you're being selfish and short-sighted. So I was out there with Carter, hunting at my buddy Scott Gatz's place. Scott, again, thank you for access to your beautiful piece of heaven there. And we were actually hunting in right up at the front of the property in a small orchard that was just drawing deer in like crazy. Now, you can't put apples out because that's baiting, but you can hunt in an orchard. And we were. First night, Saturday night. On the way there, I'm telling Carter, now, Carter, remember, we're here to shoot a doe, right? A big doe is the target tonight. He said, well, what if a buck comes in? I said, Carter, we're here to shoot a big doe. All right, Grandpa. And wouldn't you know it, we were surrounded by little bucks. I mean, I don't know where all these little year-and-a-half-old bucks came from. There must every year-and-a-half-old buck in the section must have been right there in front of us that night. But we did have some fawns and a couple of big does. The big doe that we had our eye on, that Carter really wanted to take, she stayed off, a little bit out of range, like big does often do. That's how they get to be big does, right? A big doe is far smarter than a year-and-a-half-old buck. Those year-and-a-half-old bucks, they didn't care. Oh, there's apples here. We're going to come in. We don't care. Not these big does. Eventually, the big doe we were looking at wandered in, got within range, like 20 yards. And Carter had been shooting at about 22, and I said, all right, I'd like to have it 25 yards or less, but let's play it by ear. He's shooting a dart and crossbow, by the way. He's not out there with a gun. He's out there with a dart and crossbow. If he would have been hunting with a gun, he could have taken a half dozen different deer. But that wasn't the goal, right? The goal was to get him used to being up close and personal to deer, seeing how they behave, seeing what you can get away with in a blind and what you can't get away with, and just learning the basic skills of hunting. So this big doe comes in close, doesn't give us a shot, but then she wanders off a little bit. She turns sideways. She's quartering away. I thought, based on my earlier checking the distances with a rangefinder, I thought she was at 30 yards. Well, knowing the speed, the power, and the fairly flat trajectory of that dart and crossbow, I thought he'd be okay at 30. I said, go ahead. He pulled the trigger. The lighted knock takes off, and it goes just underneath the belly of the doe. Clean miss. And we all know it is far better to have a good, clean miss than a bad hit. So Carter's bumming out. He's, this is the first deer he's ever missed. I said, Carter, welcome to the club, and there will be many more. And again, Carter, it's better to have a good, clean miss than a bad hit. Turns out she was actually out there about 35 yards. So that was bad on me. I misjudged the distance and gave him the green light. He didn't do anything wrong. He made a great shot at what he thought was a distance that he could make the shot at. Still, we had a close encounter. We had deer in front of us. He got a shot. He was happy. I didn't think I was going to be able to hunt Sunday night. Well, his excitement level convinced me that I was going to make time to hunt Sunday night. And he wanted to redeem himself. So Sunday night was very stormy where we were. Heavy rain, storm, lightning, thunder. We got out there in the blind, and the weather let up. And I like this break in the weather when it's raining like that, right? Because the deer get up, oftentimes the deer get up and move around during that break. Well, they did. They came in earlier this night. And again, a bunch of year-and-a-half-old bucks. Spikes, 4 points, 6 points, all in velvet, covered up, surrounded by them. And then there's a big old doe off on the side. And she decided she wanted to cooperate. And she came into about 25 yards, broadside, quartered away. And she put her foot forward, and she opened up the perfect shot. But there was a year-and-a-half-old buck behind her, a spike in front of her, and some fawns around her. I said, Carter, you don't have a shot, buddy. It's not there. I love that. And she wandered off. And then the skies opened up and it poured like crazy, and we were done. And that was our youth hunt. Carter didn't get a deer, but he had a great experience. He had a couple of great nights in the blind. And I did too. And it was wonderful. And now he can't wait for the regular season. I posted a lot of pictures online of the youth hunt. In fact, as we're in the studio here midweek, I haven't gotten to them all. Bear with me. It's been crazy busy around my place, but busy is good, right? Busy's better than bored. Every picture from the youth hunt that I have received shows a kid with a huge smile, a big grin. And they don't care if it's a big buck. They don't care if it's a spike. They don't care if it's a doe. They're just happy to be out there. They're happy to have taken an animal, and they've got a huge smile on their face. And I love it. And about 90% of those pictures, the tongue is hanging out of the mouth of the deer. And it takes this beautiful picture, this celebration of this outdoor lifestyle, and it diminishes it to something less. Now, listen, I know when you shoot an animal, things happen. They bleed. Their tongue comes out. I get it. And back in the days of when we used to share pictures, I'd pull a picture out of my wallet or out of my pocket and slide it over to you and say, look at this buck or look at this doe. It didn't matter what it looked like. But these days, and this is just a reality of the world we live in today, how do we share pictures these days? We share them online. We post them online. We put them on Facebook. We put them on whatever else. And when you do that, everybody has the opportunity to see it. I'm just saying, and I ask this every year, can you take just a couple of seconds, maybe put the animal in a good position, maybe prop it up, and please, please, please take the tongue and push it back in the animal's mouth so it doesn't look like a cartoon. And I'm not caving in. People say, Avery, you're caving to the anti-hunters. Nothing could be further from the truth. I will never, ever cave into the anti-hunters. Ever. However, I am concerned about what the vast majority of the population think of us. That 80% of people in the middle who don't hunt, but they have nothing against it, and maybe their only exposure to hunting is what we post online. So just take a second. Put the tongue back in the mouth. Prop it up. Frame it up nice. I don't think that's asking too much. I was out at the Angler Quest plant in St. Louis, Michigan earlier in the week. I got to look at the new Angler Quest boats. Holy cow, are they absolutely beautiful. And they're made right here in Michigan. Coming up after the break, Brad Dupuis, Mr. Angler Quest himself, will be joining us to talk about the new models. They're wider, they're bigger, they're faster, they're more beautiful than Scott Safranski of Linwood Beach. Are the perch biting on Saginaw Bay? And also tips to put your boat to bed for the winter. My Angler Quest is going to bed. I know I should be out fishing, but I'm in a hunting mode now. In hour number 2, Jerry Weidner of the Hunter Safety System talks about staying safe in a tree stand. Tom Cooley from the DNR, what you should be looking for as far as possible diseases in deer. This week's Ask Avery question: why does the wrong show air on some of our affiliate stations? I'll answer that question. And then hour number 3, Jim Hoy talks about wolves in the UP, and wild game chef Dave Miner wraps it up. That's coming up this week right here on Outdoor Magazine. Hey, Ron, how you doing, buddy? I saw you sneak in there. I just couldn't answer you. I just couldn't say hi while we were on the air. All right, my friends, have a good day. Oh, this is the new spot, isn't it? Yeah. I was worried the music might be too loud. It's not, though, is it? No, it's fine. Yeah, okay. All right, my friends, have a good day. Hopefully, I'll see you tonight, 7 o'clock, for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. In the meantime, have a wonderful day.